When you start thinking about the growth of this hash rate, how much of this is inside the United States versus internationally? And how important is it that it's happening in the US to any degree?
I mean, look, since the Chinese ban and now with what's going on in Russia, I think more and more of this hash rate is going to come online in North America. There are certainly feasibility studies and planned projects that are looking at South America and parts of Northern Europe, specifically Norway and Sweden. But it's likely that we're going to see the vast majority of hash rate for the remainder of this year come on in the States.
Got it.
I should say in the States and Canada.
Correct. And the United States now has what? It's like 35% of global hash rate, with about 10% being in Texas. Is that like general ballpark?
That's the ballpark. I think we're probably going to see close to 50% of the hash rate in the United States here by the end of the year.
How big of an issue is it that more than 50% was in China, and now if more than 50% is in the US, like, is there still the same quote unquote strategic risk in terms of the lack of decentralization to the network, or do people not worry as much because of the belief that the US is less authoritarian?
You know, Bitcoin is non-state money, so I think that more than 50% of the hash rate in any one country's borders poses a risk to Bitcoin. But we're going to see how Bitcoiners respond. I mean, when it was in China, everyone was up in arms talking about how we can't have that much hash rate in China. But when we have that much hash rate domestically, we're going to see how people will respond. Now, fortunately, the conversations that we've had in Washington and in some of the states, legislators are really keen to get educated. They're not looking to overregulate it, or so it would seem at this point. So I think that what we'll see is favorable or, do no harm oversight over the next couple of years out of Washington. And of course, Biden just signed his executive order today, which, I think all he really did was call the other agencies to arms and say, hey, look, we got to take a closer look at things. So I think we're in a pretty good spot.
What was your read on this executive order? It felt like it was more directive. Hey, go do a bunch of research, come back to me with reports, but positive, negative. What's kind of your take?
I think it was a bit of a nothing burger. Effectively it's the CEO of a company saying, hey, look, R&D, let's go out and see what we have here. And I think that's good. There needs to be a lot more research into the space before there are regulations that come out that could potentially thwart innovation. So I think it was a smart move, this executive order. We'll see what comes from it. But I think ultimately what's going to end up happening is you're going to have, like the EPA was tasked with looking into the space. And I'm sure that's going to come down heavily on mining. But what I feel they're going to find is that, Bitcoin miners are actually operating in a much more efficient way and using much more clean energy, air quotes clean, than has been purported in the press to this point. So I think it's going to end up being a big win for Bitcoin.
Hey, you, did you like this video? Great. We make 5 of them a day and post them here on this channel. Make sure you're subscribed, like the video, and see you next time.